Today we're going to be learning about the quotient rule. Quotient rule says that if f of x is equal to g of x divided by h of x, where f of x is continuous, then the derivative of f of x is equal to the derivative of g of x times h of x minus the derivative of h of x times g of x over h of x squared. Luckily, there's an easy way to remember this. If you think about the numerator as high and the denominator as low, you can say low d high minus high d low, square the bottom, and away we go. A common mistake if you don't memorize the quotient rule is thinking that the derivative of f of x is equal to the derivative of g of x divided by the derivative of h of x. However, if you memorize the product rule and you set the denominator equal to a negative exponent, you can prove that this is not true. Now let's do some practice. Consider the function f of x is equal to 5 times e to the negative x divided by x plus e to the negative 2x. Evaluate the derivative of x when x is equal to negative ln of 2. So we already have it written out here. We can do low d high minus high d low, square the bottom, and away we go. Now that we have that, remember that the derivative of e to the kx, where k is a constant, is equal to k times e to the kx. We can use that to find the derivative of 5 times e to the negative x. Now let's rewrite it. Now after we do that, let's factor out negative 5 times e to the negative x. This is easier to see if we change this to a plus and this to a minus, and now let's factor it out. Finally, we can simplify the middle to get okay, so remember that even though this is the derivative, you haven't fully answered the problem yet. The problem is asking for the derivative when x is equal to negative ln of 2. So now let's substitute all the x's for negative ln of 2. Now that we have that, we can simplify even further. Remember that a times ln of b is equal to ln of b to the a. This can help us solve things like negative 5 times e to the ln of 2 and also negative 2 times negative ln of 2. Let's simplify it even more. Now that we have that, we can simplify even further because we know that e to the ln of x is just equal to x. Let's simplify even more by combining like terms. Finally, we can get rid of the negatives. And we have our answer. Because this was so much fun, let's do another problem. Find the equation to the tangent line y equals sine of 2x divided by cosine of 3x plus secant of x as x is equal to pi over 6. So we have the equation written out here, and we can use low d high minus high d low, square the bottom, and away we go. Now that we have this, we can find the derivatives using the trig rules, which you guys should have memorized. Don't forget about chain rule. So because we have 2x, multiply by 2. Don't forget about chain rule here as well. Remember to multiply by 3 since the derivative of 3x is 3. Okay, once you get here, do not simplify because it's just going to be a waste of time. We already know that x is supposed to equal pi over 6, so we can just plug it in without having to worry about things like the double angle formula and simplifying even further. Now let's just substitute all of the x's for pi over 2. Now that we have this, we can just solve using our knowledge of trig. Now we can simplify even further and continue to do this until you get something that you cannot simplify at all. We finally found the derivative at x is equal to pi over 6. But remember, that's not what the question is asking. The question is asking for the equation of the tangent line. The derivative is equal to m in y equals mx plus b, or we can use the point slope form since it's easier to represent. I hope that this video was helpful for you and you guys were able to understand more about the quotient rule and do harder types of problems.